Ashish Bhakta. I'm a partner in ANB Legal, a full service law firm having our offices in Mumbai, Goa, Delhi, as well as in Houston. I myself am from Mumbai. I am here on a very kind request made by the Cochin Chamber of Commerce to speak to you about certain legal aspects which we are facing today. In the short time which I have, it is not possible for me to speak to you about any particular issue which we are facing today because everything is sector agnostic. Everything, all the issues which are coming before us are case specific, and to mention any case specific issue at this time would not be more or less appropriate. So, what do I talk about? Let me talk about a certain issue or a certain country which is on everybody's radar today, including of its citizens, including of us Indians, which is China. Everybody seems to be worried about China taking over the whole world. What has India done for that? India has come out with a particular notification to try and protect its citizens and investors. Before I get into that, let me give you a brief background of how foreign investments in India function in terms of uh, legal routes. The first thing is that there are various ways in which foreign investments can come into India. One of them, of course, as we all know, is the foreign direct investment route. The foreign direct investment route is again broadly divided into two halves. The one is the approval route and one is the automatic route. The the investments which come in are routed through the authorized banks which are approved and authorized by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, what has the government done? The government usually to look after these investments or to come out with periodic notifications releases press notes throughout the year, which press notes at the end of the year are incorporated into a master circular, which form a part of the Foreign Exchange Management Act and govern the foreign investments in India. Now, the Indian government, by way of a press note 3, has come up with a notification to state that any entity of a country which shares a land border with India or where the beneficial owner of an investment into India is situated or is a citizen of any such country, they can invest only under the approval route. Further, in the event of the transfer of ownership of any existing or future FDI in any entity in India, directly or indirectly, resulting in the beneficial ownership falling within the restrictions to purview, any subsequent change in the beneficial ownership will also be under the approval route. Now, what does this exactly mean? What are the parameters which are there before us? The parameters which are there before us are one of what we understand from this notification and one which we do not understand. What is it that we understand? We understand that any foreign investment which is coming in via China, because of course China shares a land border with India, will require the approval of the Reserve Bank of India under FEMA. Now, what is it that we are concerned with? We are concerned with the fact that any existing investments are not to be affected. It is only the future investments which are there, which would come into effect by any future planning or by way of investment agreements which are already in place, which would be affected, like the put and call options, which are usually put in these investment agreements. Further, any sale by a Chinese entity to any other foreign entity is not affected by this particular notification. It is only any investment made to a Chinese entity which is being affected. What is the ratio? Is there any restrictions or is there any relaxations which have come into place? No, there are no relaxations in this particular notification at all. The relaxation, so what the authorized dealers have taken a call or should be taking a call is that even 1% or less of any Chinese investment which comes in or future Chinese investment which comes in will require the approval route. Hong Kong, till recently, was taken as a separate entity for determining foreign direct investment. Hong Kong, of course, as we know, is administered by China, and accordingly, there would be a scope for China to for Hong Kong to come within the purview of this particular notification. Thing which is not clear at this notification is the definition of the term beneficial ownership. Now, as we all know, because of various tax purposes or other reasons, there is a lot of structuring which is done when investments are brought into India. Now, as regards these structurings, what exactly is a beneficial ownership is not known to us because there is no definition of that particular term anywhere. Of course, that has to be taken separately from the term control. However, that clarification has not yet come out from the government of India at all. Having said that, the apart from the beneficial ownership, which is not clear, there is also an issue about pooled investments because a lot of pooled investments come in from abroad into India into various structures, whereas there has been no no clarification on that as to whether these pooled investments which have in inverted commas a beneficial ownership would also form within this purview. So even the authorities who would want to follow this in letter and spirit, or the Indians who want to follow this in letter and spirit, there is no clarification as regards that. What one can do is that for future investments which come in, the authorized dealers may need to take a notification or a self declaration from the entities who are investing in as well as the entities who are being invested into to state that there is no beneficial ownership which concerns this press note 3. In absence of any, again, in absence of any uh, real clarification, there is nothing which we can do much about other than get this particular self declaration. The Indians are not the only people who have done this. The European Union, the Australians, a lot of people have thought of doing that. So going forward, one will have to be very careful of investments coming in from this particular region or particular jurisdiction. Having said that, it is a good step by the Indian government to make sure that there is no acquisition which is happening in a hostile manner, or no companies are being taken over just because they have the power of money. That's all I have to say on this topic. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce or maybe even me.